There are places in this world that feel wrong. Not broken, not abandoned, not even haunted. Just aware. In the northern woods of a forgotten village, surrounded by trees that never seem to move, there stands a house. No one lives there. No one visits. And no one in the village speaks about what happened inside it. 30 years ago, a family of 4 vanished overnight. No blood, no forced entry, no footprints in the snow. Only one strange detail. Every clock inside that house had stopped at exactly 3:17 a.m. And to this day, no clock inside that house has ever ticked again, until someone new walks in. This is the story of the house that remembered. Black Hollow was never the kind of place that made headlines. Small population. Quiet nights. Locked doors left unlocked. The Turner family moved into the house in the winter of 1996. David Turner, his wife, Eleanor, and their 2 children, Lucy, age 9, and Michael, age 6. Neighbors describe them as normal, friendly, happy. Nothing unusual. But about 2 months after they moved in, things changed. Lucy told her teacher she heard whispering in her bedroom walls. Michael started drawing the same picture over and over again. A tall, thin shape standing inside their hallway. When Eleanor mentioned strange noises to neighbors, they told her it was just the house settling. Old wood expands. Pipes make sounds. It's normal. But on February 14th, 1997, at exactly 3:17 in the morning, every light in the house turned on. Neighbors saw it through their windows. Then, darkness. The next morning, the Turners were gone. Beds unmade, breakfast half prepared. Front door slightly open, and every single clock stopped. 3:17 a.m. 30 years later, Daniel Carter built his career chasing the unexplained. Abandoned hospitals, urban legends, cold cases. He didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in psychology. Fear creates stories. Stories create myths. Myths become hauntings. When he heard about Black Hollow's silent house, he saw opportunity, a forgotten mystery. Unsolved. Untouched for decades. Perfect. The villagers weren't welcoming. They didn't yell. They didn't threaten. They simply said one sentence. Some places are better left alone. Daniel smiled politely. He had heard that before. He rented the only available room in the village, and that night, he walked to the house. The front gate creaked open. The house stood still under the moonlight. Not broken, not destroyed. Just waiting. Daniel pushed the door. It wasn't locked. The smell inside wasn't rot. It wasn't mold. It smelled like dust. And something faintly metallic. His flashlight beam moved across family photos still hanging on the walls. Lucy, smiling. Michael holding a toy truck. Eleanor looking tired. David staring slightly off camera. Daniel set up his camera equipment in the living room. Checked audio. Checked battery. Everything normal until 3:17 a.m. The first sound was subtle. A ticking. Soft. Faint. Behind him, he turned slowly. The broken wall clock above the fireplace was moving. Tick. 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 Then every clock in the house began ticking. In perfect synchronization. Daniel's camera glitched. The lights flickered, and then silence. 3:17 a.m. Everything stopped again. His recorder, still running, captured something else. A whisper. Very faint. Why did you leave us? Daniel was alone. But the question wasn't for him. The next night, Daniel returned. This time, prepared. More cameras. More lights. More confidence. But something had changed. The hallway felt longer. the air heavier. He walked upstairs. Halfway up, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned. No one there, but the wood beneath his feet felt warm. In Lucy's bedroom, he found drawings taped to the inside of the closet. The tall shape, over and over again. But now, the drawings looked different. The shape wasn't in the hallway anymore. It was closer inside her room. Standing beside her bed, Daniel whispered, "It's just imagination." The closet door slammed shut. Hard. Downstairs, a picture frame shattered. The house was responding. Not randomly, intentionally. Under a loose floorboard in the master bedroom, Daniel found Eleanor's journal. The entries began normal. House repairs, school updates, daily life. Then, February 3rd. Greater than David says, I'm imagining things, but the house feels different at night. February 7th. Greater than Lucy talks to someone in the walls. February 10th. The clocks freeze at 3:17 every night. February 13th. Greater than the house is not haunted. And then the final entry, written shakily. It is awake. It feeds on memory. It doesn't want us to leave. Daniel reviewed all his footage. In one frame, for half a second, something stood behind him. Tall, still, watching, but it wasn't solid. It shimmered, like heat above asphalt. He slowed the footage. The shape wasn't human. It was layered, like overlapping shadows, and Dean said it. Faces faint, distorted, frozen in fear. Daniel realized something horrifying. The house didn't kill, it collected. It trapped people inside their final emotional peak. And 3:17 a.m. was the moment David Turner understood what was happening. The house froze him there. Forever. Daniel decided to stay through 3:17 one last time, but this time, without fear. He sat in the center of the living room. Lights off, camera rolling, clock silent. 3:16 a.m. The walls began to stretch. The hallway extended endlessly. Voices filled the air, whispers overlapping. Memories not his own. He closed his eyes. I'm not afraid. 3:17 a.m. Every clock exploded into motion. The house shook violently. Then, everything froze. Complete silence. Daniel opened his eyes. He was standing at the end of the hallway, looking at himself, sitting in the living room, smiling. The version of him in the hallway whispered, "Why did you come back?" The clocks stopped. The next morning, villagers saw Daniel's car still parked outside. The door was slightly open. Inside the house, a new photograph sat on the table. The Turner family and Daniel, all smiling. Behind them stood a tall shadow, watching, waiting. And on the wall, the clocks tick peacefully until 3:17 a.m. Tick. Silence.